All right, now, Africans fleeing the Russian invasion of Ukraine are suffering racism, it has been claimed, with black refugees blocked from public transport and threatened at gunpoint by militiamen. Looks like racism somehow finds its way even amidst war. I thought maybe war would be different, but I guess not. Take a look.
Please come with me.
Nigerian embassy officials are here, for example, transporting hundreds of people to Budapest, mainly students who've been walking for days. The people we spoke to said they'd come out via Hungary in order to avoid the Ukrainian-Polish border exit points to the west.
Budapest.
Suddenly, word spreads the train on Platform 1 is leaving for Budapest. Even here on the border, war, too close for comfort. It's a false alarm, though. Turns out the train isn't leaving for another 4 hours, so plenty of time to hear stories of the journey to the border. Like Victor's, a medical student in Kyiv, and his friend, Allow.
I'm a brain.
Just sad seeing those videos earlier in the week, seeing mothers with their children, and because of the color of your skin, even now during this time when this is happening, it makes no sense. Cindy, when you were watching those videos, because you were sharing very many, and together with how Western media is reporting, or certain journalists are reporting about this story, what did you make of that?
First of all, I have a friend who's in the Ukraine who walked 40 kilometers to a different part of the border because the main border point to Poland, the neighboring country, they were not allowed to pass in through the color of his skin. He had blisters. He's been well accepted. He's all right, but he had to cross through the forest in the cold because of the racism that is felt. War is the greatest litmus test of how society views people. Let's take it a couple of years back. During the war in Syria, there were a couple of countries that did not accept Syrian refugees because they said these people are going to come and infiltrate our economy and take over. However, the same countries that turned away the Syrians are now accepting Ukrainians. So it makes you wonder what's different between the war in Syria than the war in Ukraine. It's all about the color of the skin. Racism has bypassed everything, even in sport. Until today, we still have incidences where governing bodies are not doing anything to curb the sports or the racism that is seen in sports. The only people who can do it now are the people responsible. Zelensky, who's the president of the Ukraine, is going through so much, and I think how he has managed the war is really commendable. Once everything is over, because it will be over, it would be nice if he sat down and in solidarity talked to his people and his neighbors and said, we are one. That will be the voice that could actually break down some of this systemic racism that unfortunately is allowed to flourish because nobody wants to say anything because it's sort of like an untold rule. But I would love us to finally get into a generation, into a century where the classification is not European, are Asians, Arabs.
Yeah.
And remember, in the colonial system, it was dogs and then Africans.
That's just, you saw those videos. They're civilized, the civilized Europeans. This isn't the Middle East where they have.
It's just odd. My concern now is that we have been drawn into a world where the first of a global village has lied to us that we are equal in every single part of the world, where we are not. When Russia attacked Ukraine, one of the things that the US has done and the other NATO states is implementing sanctions against the country. Can you imagine that we are in such a bad place that Africa, our children are being mistreated somewhere and we cannot do nothing about it? We can't even say that we are now standing against Poland in this way because of the citizens are doing 1, 2, 3 against our own citizens. We must live to go to a place where we are able to take care of our own brothers. This is just a thing. Now we are in a war where it's just unfortunate that the color of your skin is going to be a measure by which you'll be judged. It does not matter. And I love something that Trevor Noah said, that people normally think that being refugees, I think that is a reserve of we who are colored.
Yeah.
It is not. One day they will need to come to, you know, to
And
come
they
to Africa.
have.
They have been coming to
Yeah.
Africa. They will still
Yeah.
need to come to Africa.
They
We just
do.
hope that we as Africans, we manage to develop to such a place where we will be able to tell them that we remind you of the times when
Mato?
you mistreated us.
One of the arguments that was quite skewed that I saw was people saying if war was happening in Kenya and we needed to leave the country, priority would be given to Kenyans as opposed to foreigners.
Yeah.
And that is more of, I don't know. I don't know what I didn't really know what to feel about that, because there is a truth in it, yes, but you see what is happening in Ukraine is blatant racism, direct in your face. You are not going because of the color of your skin.
Right.
And having been in a European country as well, where we were stuck and we needed to leave, and the priority was given, first of all, UK, US passports, and then other countries that have, are, primarily white.
Yeah.
And then we want to come to live.
Yeah.
Pakistanis and Africans, you stay on one side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Mato, this is about the relationship between our countries and those countries. We are not in. They don't fear losing anything when they mistreat us. That's the thing. If we got to a place
feel like we
where
have no say.
our voice would mean something,
Yes.
and Africa, as rich as we are still doing it. I just hope so.
I hope so too.